Welcome to the final part of the tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to be focusing more on the music or the sound that complements the video or that goes with the video. We're also going to focus on text, graphics, and then a little bit of color correction, and then probably we might touch on color grading. Okay, so now we are done with the videos. We are going to go to audio. Okay, so for the audio, we are going to sound effects. That is where we have the other types of audio. So here we are just going to add, I'm going to show you how to add a background music to your video. Okay, now initially I mentioned that sometimes the audios that you add to your videos complements the video. They set a mood for your entire project. And sometimes to some editors usually look for the videos, the audios first. It depends if your video is a documentary or like is a vlog, like a vlog style video. You might want to get your videos first, so that sometimes when you are cutting you might want to get your audio first, so that sometimes when you are cutting your videos, you cut to the beat. So for instance, if the video is going like, if the audio is going like pa, 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 on every pa, you'd have to change your clip to give it that harmonious look. I don't know if it makes sense, but basically that is that. So for this particular one, it's just a background music that I'm going to add. There's no vlog style, so I can do this after cutting it, right? So this is it. And I also mentioned that sometimes I use audios to enhance the text. So for instance, if the text, this is a test for typing. So if I want to like just put a text there like pa, just to enhance the text, I can put the audio where the text begins like pa. Sometimes you can see a video where there's a typing, how do you call it, typing sound, like typewriter sound. So when the text falls on the screen, the audio goes underneath the text, just to make it more realistic. Basically that is that. So here I'm going to add this. Yeah, I'm going to add that. So after selecting it, I'm going to take the audio and then put it right underneath this one. Now you notice that when you play it, the background music is overshadowing the actual audio. So what you can do, that you can bring it down. So one way to do it, just the easiest way to do it, is to just move this slider down here, and as you're moving it, it's showing you the decibels in which the level of decibel that you are going. So you have an idea.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast.
So this one is a bit low, so you can increase it a bit.
A podcast where we delve into relationship issues, and I'll be your host, Thelma. Okay, so on today's episode, we'll be delving into a whole lot of relationship issues. Now, let me start with
All right,
this.
so you can just play around with this one, how high you want the background music to be or how low. But usually, the background music is not as high. You'd want to hear what the person is saying, so it's usually faint at the background. That's why it's called background music. Okay.
Which goes like, should women still expect men to lead in relationship? So I would want to.
And also, just go to just 1 minute, you just cut here. So C for the razor cut, you cut here, and then you delete the part that you don't need. So for instance, when I am trying to play music, put music at the background, I don't usually start off strong. So what I do is that I kind of fade in the music, and at the end of it I fade out. Do you get it? So that is not a sharp cut, like it ends like the way this one is. If I put this one here, it's going to end like this. Then that is it. No, you'd have to like. So what you do is you press Control first, and then you press this one to give it a keyframe. You press Control at the end of the song to give it a keyframe, and then you drag this one down, okay, so that it goes like this. You see, so it gradually fades the music. So that's the same thing I'm coming to do. So at the beginning, I fade in, so control at the beginning, and then here, and then I bring this one down so that the beginning fades in, and then the end of the video fades out. So that's it's not sharp, 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 sharp. So let's play this and see.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where we delve into relationship issues, and I'll be your host, Thelma. Okay, so today's
All
episode,
right.
we'll be delving into
So this one
a
can
whole lot
go
of
here a
relationship
bit.
issue. Now, let me.
Okay, so let's play.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where we delve into relationship issues, and I'll be your
Right.
host, Thelma. Okay, so
So without the audio, this is how the project sounds like.
today's episode, we'll be delving into a whole lot of relationship issues.
And then with the audio, the background music, this is how it's going to sound like.
Now, let me start with this.
It gives you that relaxing feel.
Women's
You get it?
expect men to
So
be
background music kind of, is it evokes or brings about emotions when you are watching videos. So that's why horror movies, they have some sounds that they use to make you more scared when you're watching horror movies, because just those videos won't do anything to you. So they have to add a lot of ambience and sound effects to make it more scary. Okay, because of that's the emotion they want to portray in the video. So this is just more relaxing conversation. So yeah, this sound is perfect. So once you are done, yeah, basically that's how to add sound to your videos. And if you have any effects, it's the same thing. So for instance, if let's say, what effect do I have here? Okay, that's music. Okay, let's see what effect do we have. No, this effect will not work. But then if there's any, if you want to create suspense, any kind of effect you want, you just go online and just look for maybe sound effects for video production. If there's any link, I'm going to put it in the description box or somewhere, I don't know. And then yeah, you can check those out. There are several websites that have free sounds that you can download. Okay, so yeah. So we are done with the sound. Let's move on to text. So how do you add text? So let's go back to this, right? So we are here. So how to add text? Now it depends, okay? If you want to add text, once you click on the text, it activates the text function. So for instance, click on the T here, and then you can, the moment I click on the screen here, it will give a text file. Okay, so if I click it, you see it has appeared here. So that is a new text that we've been working with. So for instance, if I want to write anything on the screen, or probably her name, I can go ahead and write it, Thelma. Okay, this is me doing it manually, right? Then I can come here and then adjust or change the style of the text. So for instance, this is Thelma. Before you do anything, you want to highlight on the text to make sure that it is activated. So this is Thelma. If I want to change the text, I come here to the text font, change it to, so you move your arrow keys up, down to change the text, or to go to the text and see which ones you like. So let's say I'm choosing Gothic Heavy for that. and then this, if it's italic or regular. Sometimes some fonts have other extra styles, but this one has only two, the regular and then the italic. So 100, if you want to increase the size of the text, this is where you come. So you slide this to the left or to the right to increase or decrease it. So let's say this is Thelma, and this is just the alignment, whether left, center, or right. And if you want to space out the individual text, this is where you come. So this is me spacing it out. You can see it taking effect on the screen. So I'm just moving my keypad left from the left to the right just to space it out. And this is also kerning. Kerning has to do with what does kerning? Kerning has to do with the spacing of the letters. If I have like a sentence, the one at the top and the one at the bottom, so kerning kind of space the letters over each other or something like that. Yeah. So let's see, Thelma enter girl, right? Or girly. It has activated the kerning part of it. So if I want to, so first of all, let me highlight it for you. So this is a sentence that a kerning is not activated to tracking and then kerning. Okay, let's leave the kerning alone. We might tackle it next time. All right. Oh no, sorry. Kerning has to do with the text like this one too as well. It's leading that has to do with the distance between lines of text. Okay, so let me show you. So Thelma curly highlight and then lead. So the leading has to do with the spacing between the sentences. Okay, so sorry about this particular side. So this is leading and then this is kerning. Let's see what this also does. So brings enter down or to the top. Okay, so you just have to explore with these functions. Now if you want to change the color to, tap on it, is the fill. You want to change it to red or to yellow, do that. Okay, and then if you want to give it a stroke, this one doesn't have stroke yet, so this has a white stroke now, and then the point of the stroke. So if you want the stroke to be heavy, that is it, but you don't want any stroke, and that is it. If you also have shadows, yeah, you can create your own shadow if you want a red shadow or something. So yeah, play around with this one, the opacity of the shadow, all of that. So yeah, basically this is how to add text. You can just play around it with this one and then see how best it will turn out. But then if you don't have that energy to be doing all of these things, what you can do is that for the text, you can just go here to browse. It's going to give you presets or templates that come with the software, so you don't stress yourself plenty. So for example, if I want to label or give her lower thirds, I can come here. This is a classic lower third and is activated, and I just drag it to the timeline like this, and it's here. All I do is I edit it. Okay, so why do I edit it? The part that says insert name here, the side on the screen, I see insert name here. I just come here, highlight it, and then write her name, Thelma. And then the part that says add title, I double tap on it and then write maybe host, and we are good to go. Okay, so if you look at the shape side, the shape has to do with this blue thing here. So if I want to change the fill, I just come and use this eyedropper to, maybe if I have a color on the screen that I want to use, I use the eyedropper to, and then move around and then select it. But then if I want to actually go into the colors that's there, software provides. I just double click here and then select maybe this yellow. No, this yellow doesn't go with this one, so maybe we can do black. Yeah, this is okay. This is not bad. No, but let's control Z because initially it came as a gradient. So let's stick with the gradient. Yes, so the gradient, double tap on the gradient and then we can select the color that we want. So even if it's maybe the yellow that we selected, but has to be darker so that the white will show properly. Okay. Yeah, that's not bad. It's black alright, but then it has a little hint of yellow there, and that's okay. So this is how to add text to it. So you just go back to this one that we did. Because we've deleted it, we just have to delete the file too as well. So for instance, she's mentioning her name. So let's
Hello everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where we delve into relationship issues. And I'll be your host, Thelma. Okay, so today's episode,
okay.
we're delving into
So most of the time when you're adding the name of the host or the guest, you make sure that it's closer to when they are mentioning their name so that if people watching or your viewers watching aren't able to catch it when it's being said, at least they can read it and have a fair idea what the names of the people are. Sometimes it includes other details such as their social media handles. So yeah, it's always advisable to put it around that side when they are mentioning it so that people can just follow along.
to relationship issues. And I'll be your host, Thelma. Okay, so today's episode, we'll be
Yeah. So basically, if your video needs more text, you follow the same process. You click on the T, you tap on the screen, it comes here, you edit it. If you want to use template, you click on the screen, you come to browse, and then you're going to have, once the T feature is on, it's going to give you all of these ones. Now, let's say you're done with the video and then you want to put some end credit at the end. End credit is like those who are in charge of production, pre-production, like those things that you put at the back of your video. If you want to do something like that, just come here. If you still want to use the templates or the presets, you come here and then you write it. So let's look for any credit. So this one comes with a lot of templates. So let's say something like this. You hold and then you drag. So now you have this. All you have to do is you have to edit it to suit what you're working. So company presents, then you come, you double tap it, you highlight, you edit, maybe Tuntum. Tuntum Studios, then all of these things. But you also have to adjust this to the size of the file that you're working with. So you click on the file, the text template, okay, and then you come to effect controls at the top here. You see where the mouse is hovering over, effect controls, and then you come to scale. So it scales everything for you. Okay, so it has scaled it. At first it was out of the frame, so depending on how big or how small you want to scale it, you can also position it properly. So if you want, let's say 50, you see it has become small, and then you move it to where you like it. So this one you want it to go up small. Okay, so sometimes these end credits have movement. So let's see if this one has. Okay, a little bit of that. So you see, I didn't bring it so close to the end of the video. So the video dips black and then little seconds of black screen and then the end credit. So for instance,
kind of old fashioned.
You see, so it's not sharp like one video, but I enter to the next video. No, it doesn't work like that for me. So this is it. But I don't normally use these. There's like a lot. So I just type it on the screen, something small, maybe production, post production. But for this particular video, let's just use maybe a logo at the top and then the person's website. So let's say djblackgh.com. They will take your text to type it here www.djblackgh.com. No, I don't want it in caps. So www.djblackgh.com. If you're okay with the text, then that is okay. So double tap and then increase the text a bit, maybe 100. Okay, 112 is okay. And then you space it out, and then you center it a bit. All right, so you have something like this here, right? www.djblack.com, and then you go to your graphics, other media. So we're going to assume this is DJ Black's logo. Okay, so you take it, you drag this logo, you put it where your text is. So we have this, and this logo is too big. So you click on the file, the graphics file, you go to effect controls here, and then you reduce the size of the logo this way, and then you position it well like this. Okay, and then this is how our video would end. So yeah, so it's like a call to action. After watching the video, you can visit the website and see, probably the whole video is going to be there, or links to other websites or other social media handles, but then the main lead is the website. So that's a call to action right there.
Seemed some kind of old fashioned.
So this particular one, you can also dip to black. So let's see the dip into black, how it's going to work. So you go to effect, click here, go to effect, go to video transitions, go to dissolve, and go to dip to black. So you can dip to black here at the beginning and at the end, so that it fades in for you. Let's see, let's just try it and see. So this is the end of the video. Okay,
But also wonders if James is to lead, or it will make her feel seemed some kind of old fashioned.
so dips, you see, then goes. So it's not, it doesn't just pops on the screen like bam bam bam. No, it's fades in so that it makes it smoother. So sometimes what I do is that for the video, sorry, for the background music, at the end of this side, I would usually bring the audio up instead, so that the viewers can enjoy the background music for some time and then later fade it in. So for instance, this way, so normal volume, then it goes up, so that we have a fair idea that, oh, the video is ending, so that if they are watching the end credits and those things, the video is at least engaging, because the end credit doesn't have sound to it. So the video the audio is going to kind of complement it. So that's why at the end of the video the audio goes up a bit and then later fades in. So let's see.
Seemed some kind of old fashioned.
So
Hello, everyone.
basically we are done with adding text and adding sound. So the next one is just to touch a bit on the video, how the video looks like. So most of the time when you're taking a video, a lot of things goes into play on how the final video looks like. You might have your light and everything in place, but sometimes the ambience or the light on set kind of mess around with how your video looks like when you're here in post-production. So the goal is to make your videos look realistic. So if the light is too much, you reduce the light. If the light is too little, you add some light. If the skin tone is off, you kind of adjust the skin tone. So that's basically what we are coming to do. And then sometimes, because your cameras can be 2 or 3, you just want the videos to look as similar as you can. Sometimes you might not get it right, but then we try to make it at least closer together. So that's what we'll be doing next. That's the color correction. That is to tweak it to make it look natural, like how real life colors look like. And then later on, if you want to express your creativity, that is when you do your color grading. Color grading most of the time evokes emotions as well. So for instance, sometimes if you are doing movies in cold weathers, you see the video tends to be a bit bluish. And then if you are filming in very hot conditions, like sometimes they're trying to portray the Sahara or certain African regions, you see the video looks a bit orangey. Yeah, that's how color grading is used to communicate or is used to add emotions to the video that you're watching. So, and sometimes if people are trying to remember something, they make it gray or they reduce the saturation to make the color look very like old kind of vibe. So yeah, basically that is what we are going to be doing. But because this is just a sit down podcast, we're just going to be focusing on her skin tone and then the lighting. That's basically that. So let's quickly do that. So most of the time people would go to the adjustment layer. People would come here, add then adjustment layer. So what adjustment layer means is that, where is it? So it is in other media, adjustment layer. So what adjustment layer does is that whatever editing that you do, go here, whatever editing. So this adjustment layer, I take it, I put it here, right? So whatever editing I do to the clip, it affects the adjustment layer. So if I don't like it, I can change it. So let me just do an example for you. Okay, so for instance, this is the clip that you're going to be working on, this clip. So we are done with the editing, so you're going to move to color. So look at the top of the screen. This is the editing, and then this is the color. So the color would activate the color section of your program or your software. So what you do is that this side, sorry, oosh, my arm is itching. So what you do is that this side is the white balance. So white balance has to do with like how the scene, like what you want to portray in the scene. So if most of the time is used to correct how warm or how cold the file that you have is. So if your video is too warm and you want to make it a bit cool, you have to balance it out. So if the video is cool and you want it to be warm, you just push it to the warm side, the slider here to the warm side. Okay, and if your video is too green, you can add a little bit of red to neutralize it. So basically just coming to neutralize the colors that we don't want. That is what the white balance part is. And then when you come to the tones, it has to do with the lighting, the exposure, the contrast, the blacks, the shadows, and all of that. So when I'm editing, I don't do too much. I'm very, very simple when it comes to these things. So I'm going to work on the white balance, the tones, and then later work on the skin tone. And that is basically that. So what do we do? This has a little bit of green, so I bump up the red side a little. And then let's see. Yeah, a little. I come to the exposure, it's a little bit overexposed, so I come down. Okay, so what Oh, sorry, I've made a mistake. I'm supposed to do all of these things on the adjustment layer, okay, not the actual clip. That's if you're using the adjustment layer. So every effect that I will be doing will be on the adjustment layer. So bump it up a bit. Let's see. Okay, let's see how this works. So 15, exposure down, contrast a bit in the highlights. I don't like a lot of highlights, so shadows, small shadows, just to make the color pop. White, no, go not too much. Blacks a little bit down. So yeah, so with the adjustment layer, this is what we have. We've adjusted the lighting, so this is with the adjustment layer, and then this is without it. So this and then this and this. Now at this point, every editor does this thing differently, so it has to do with the person's editing style. Okay, so if you're learning from somebody who likes a lot of light in their videos, you end up having that skill of putting a lot of light in your videos. If you work with someone that doesn't like a lot of light, that is what you're going to pick up as a beginner when you're learning. So yeah.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where
Right.
we delve.
So this is it. Now what we are going to do now is we are going to touch. Now that I'm okay with the the lighting that we have here, I'm going to go to, let me put this back. I'm going to go to HSL, HSL secondary, where I'm going to touch a little bit on selected parts of the colors here in the frame. So I want to touch on this side a bit. So I move the hue saturation. So I'm moving the hue here, and then and then saturation, I'm trying to move this one here a bit. Oh, I've made a mistake. Always make sure that you're not doing it on okay. Alright, so here I'm selecting how far I want the range to be. Okay, let me give it a wider range so that okay, so it will select a wider range of her skin tone for me to work with. And let's see. So here I want the skin tone to be a little bit yellowish. It looks a bit red for me. So I come here, now that I have selected where I want it to be, I come here and then add the tones to correct it. So I don't want it to be too red like this one. Neither do I want it to be too yellow like this one. So I'm going to stick somewhere in between these ones to give it a realistic look. Yeah, so my mouse is here and I'm selecting these ones. So I don't want the colors to be harsh as well, so I'm going to give it a little blurred effect and then reduce some noise here. You see, so that it's not too sharp. So this is okay. Now if you bring it here, yeah, so depend on the color that you want. So I'm playing around this region. Yeah, this is okay. And then you can also decide to increase the saturation over here. Okay, this is way too much. It's too bright, so it's going to come down. All right, so this is okay for me. Mm. All right, so this is her skin tone now, and this is how it used to be. So you can tell. Did I do it on a different? Okay, this is not touched, so it's on the adjustment layer, and then this is it.
Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast.
All right, but the background is a bit too. It has given it a bit of color, so I'm just going here and then see if I can do a little bit of correction at the top, make it a bit cooler. Yeah. Mm. Increase the contrast so that the blacks can become blacker, and then let's see the blacks white. All right, so decreasing the whites a bit. I think it's okay. Come to HSL and see. Let me bring this here small. Yeah, I think this is okay. All right, I think this is okay for a skin tone. So this is with the color.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where
All
we
right,
delve.
so you can tell the difference. But I personally do not like working with adjustment layers. To be honest with you, if you should drag it like this, it would affect the clips at the bottom too, like this one. So if you don't like it like that, that's going to be confusing. But then if you still want to work with that, what I usually do is that when I finish, I push the adjustment layer aside. So now we have this.
Podcast.
Now remember I told you that when you're doing color correcting and those things, your videos become heavy. When they become heavy, they tend to lag. So when you're playing, it's not going to be as fast.
That's where we delve into relationship issues.
So that's why you do this process
and I'll be
last.
Your host, Thelma.
So if you want to work with adjustment layer, what you do is that once you drag it over it, okay. Once you drag it over it, you take the individual files and then work on them two separately. So you have the adjustment layer as the basic of your edit. Then you take this one. So for instance, this one is a bit darker because the second camera was too light, so we had to bring the exposure down. But this one is too dark, so we have to increase the exposure. So when you come to the basic correction, you check the exposure, you give it a little bit of light. Yeah, so this is better. So if you compare this one to this one has a bit of light. Yeah. This one has a bit of light. So let me just try and then work on the rest of. Okay, contrast a bit. HSL. It's a bit reddish, so let's make it. just add a bit of yellow to it. That's too much. Blurred, denoise. Okay. Okay, so this is the main video.
Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where we delve into relationship issues. And I'll be your host, Thelma.
And this is the wide one. So what can we do to make it, this one is a bit brighter, so let's increase this one a bit. Come on, let me. Okay, let's see if we can touch a little bit on the exposure, not too much. Or let's see the highlights. All right, this is not bad. So this is the main video corrected, and then this is the main video with the first adjustment layer effect. So we've corrected this one here on the clip itself. So you just, what you do is you just copy the effect. So you copy and then you paste the attributes on this one to put the attributes on that clip. So you highlight the effect, Lumetri color, and then okay. So now this also has the same effect as this one now, and it's not dark. Yeah, so basically this is how to quickly touch on the skin tone of the subject. Okay, so we are currently done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pick and Paul podcast, a podcast where we delve into relationship issues. And I'll be your host, Thelma. Okay, so today's episode,
All right, so this is without the adjustment layer. It looks different, right? But when we were editing it at the beginning, it was okay to the eye, but now we've added some things to it, so it looks way different. It looks colorful, it looks realistic. So now that we are done, what do? We are going to export it. So you make sure that everything is in place, your text is in place, your end credit, your sound. If you muted anything, make sure you turn it on. And then what you do is that you mark it out. So mark in is I and mark out on your keyboard is O. So you bring it to the end of the clip or the clips, and then you click on O. So it has marked it out for you. So you can just push this one in, hold long press, hold it, and then move it left and right. So this is where I want the video to end. And then we now can export. The total duration of the video is 1 minute 12 seconds. Okay, that is what is here. And then you go to file. No, sometimes if you want to cut down the render time, what you can do is that you can, if you want to cut down the export time, what you can do is that you can render your clips. Now, if you, it's advisable that before you export it, this side of the sequence area or the timeline is good when it turns green. Okay, so that's your export is way faster. But then if it's red, it means there's a lot of information that the application would have to process. So in order to make it faster, we'd want to render it. So when it's rendered, this side that is yellow is going to turn green, meaning the files have been processed. It's like crumpled shirt and you iron it to give it a smooth export processing, something like that. So what you do is that you highlight this one, okay, you mark out, and then you go to sequence at the top. I'm at the top here. You go to sequence and you go to render into out. Now if you have effects like maybe some transitions, some effects that you have put in between, maybe clips to give it that transition, you can just render those effects because those ones are very heavy. Okay, so you can use this one, render into out, render effect into out. So just press enter for that. But we want to render the entire entire clip. So you click on render into out like this, and then you wait for it to be rendered. Now, as I mentioned earlier, how fast or how slow your machine renders and exports depends on the qualities of the machine, the duration, the kind of clips that you have. And yeah, sometimes the duration of the video can be just 30 seconds, but it's loaded with a lot of effects, color grading and stuff, so it was going to take a while. So these things just play hand in hand. Yeah, so once you understand it, yeah. And one thing too is that if you are able to render at night, that is the most convenient way of editing your videos, because during the daytime, if you're going to use your active working hours to render, you're going to waste a lot of time. So edit your videos during the daytime, and then when you're about to sleep and when you're about to step out to go run some errands, you leave your video to render or to export. So after the rendering, that is when we are going to export the final file. So I'll come back when everything is done, and then yeah, we're going to move on. So here you can see the frames that it has rendered up to. Estimated time left, that is 2 minutes, around 2 minutes 50 seconds. And then this here, if you click on this right here, enter, it's also going to give you details when you started rendering, the date, the time that you spent so far, and then the space you have on your PC. Okay, the free space that you have on your PC that the program is running on at the moment. So yeah, the more you have here, the faster your PC is going to process this whole thing. So it says we have about 1 minute 12 seconds more. So you wait. Sometimes it can go as high as 12 hours, 16 hours, 18 hours, depending on the length, the duration of the video. This is just 1 minute. And we spend roughly 3 minutes to render, not to export. Yeah, so we are done. So once it's done, you see I told you this one is going to turn to, how do you call it, to green. So one thing is that if you want to add your logo, how do you do that? So you have other media, you go to your logo, maybe you want to add this logo, you go here and then you put the logo here, okay, on top of this one. Right, so there's a logo here. Now because we could have put the logo on before rendering, but we didn't do that, so it has given us this yellow thing. But yellow is not bad, it's better than red. So we go to control effect, then we reduce the size of the logo to something like this. 18% is okay, and then we move all the way to the right top corner. It depends on where you want to put your logo, basically. But always make sure that your logo is within the safe margins. Now when I say safe margins, this It's called safe margin. Sometimes some devices don't display outside the inner rectangle. Okay, so if you put your logo here, it might cut here. So what you do is that you put this. I'm going to put my oh so I'm going to put mine here so that at least it's safe, in a safe margin. So if you launch your app and you don't have a safe margin, all you have to do is, you see this side of your timeline, you right click it, and then you come to safe margins. You see, when I clicked on it, the safe margin is gone. So if you don't have it as a um first time software user, you just put your mouse here around the side, you right click it, and then you see save margins, and then you activate it like this, it will come. Then you put, so once you have your logo here, you need to drag it, because if you leave it here, after this one ends, you're not going to see it again. So you just push it right to the end here, and then the logo is in throughout the video. So if you have some extra time, you can render it again, but then we've rendered it already, but it has given us more information to render, so you can render it again. But for the sake of this video, we are just going straight to export. So for export, you make sure this is highlighted, this side is highlighted, and then you go to file, go to export media, or you click on Control M, and then the export interface shows. So what you're going to do is that you're going to leave the format at H.265. You're going to match source bitrate, and then you can decide how to label your final document. So this one, if you double tap it, it's also going to give you the location where you can save your file. Okay, so when you double tap it, it will open this window for you, and then you can decide to save it. So you're going to save it in the folder that has the audio and the video file. So if it's on your external drive, you can save it there. If you want to save it on the PC and then later copy it, you can also do that, in case your external shifts or moves, from the PC or something like that. So it depends what you want to do. So you save it there, and then you make sure that you have selected the export and then the video, so that your export and the video, so that your exports will be both video and audio. Now if you only want the audio for probably like podcast purposes, you can just export the audio and you're good to go. Now most of these things have already been done for you, so you don't necessarily need to do anything extraordinary because of the settings that we did earlier on. Okay, just as a basic editing, don't stress yourself too much. Make sure that you use maximum render quality and then use previews. If you continued saving your files, it would use those save files to make the rendering process very fast for you. So basically this is the size of your file, estimated size. It can be more or less, but they're giving you a rough idea. Now if you have the application called Adobe Media Encoder, you can queue your exports. Okay, but we don't have that, so we're going to go straight to export. And basically that is the end of the video. Okay, that is the end. So export. Yeah, so this 1 minute video is going to take us about 10-12 minutes to export. And yeah, that's basically the end of the video. So we'll show you the end, the video quality, in addition to this tutorial. So yeah, see you very soon. Hope you learned something useful in this tutorial, and I can't wait to see your videos. My name is Ikia, the creative director of Headmistress Studios, and I'll see you in other tutorials. Bye bye.